Michael Magid, live from Hollywood, California. With me, the one and only czar of all goalkeeper analytics, the one and only Bill Reno, everybody's soccer. I'm Michael Magid, and I am not coming to you from 1994 on a 360p image from a Commodore 64. I don't know what's going on with my lighting here, Bill. What is this exactly?
We're making it work. That's part of goalkeeping. Like, it doesn't always go according to plan, but you make it work, so it's fine. It's good.
Hey, we've been talking about on the show, right, about, like being able to improvise within the moment and just try to be successful
right now,
regardless of what the situation is, what the scenario is. Right now, this is one of those situations where I look like a blurred image, but the show must go on, or you got to make the save. You got to keep it out of the net. You got to find a way to make it happen, right? So we'll be playing with my my filters to figure out what to do. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I have set up these step and repeats from back in the old days of the Inside the 18 studio, and my lighting situation has changed. So maybe, I don't know, I should probably talk to AI about this. It seems to have the answers to everything nowadays. So
yeah, it couldn't hurt. There's no way that they could give you a bad answer there. So yeah, it's I do like those throwbacks. It's nice. It's nice.
It's solid. It's solid. I like the fact that, we got the whole old school, neon green and black old school Inside the 18 backdrop along with the Union stuff. Not on this side because it's my screen needs to be mirrored. On that side, there we go. I made it happen. I know how cameras work, Bill Reno.
You're giving a lot of proof that you do today, so it's good. Yeah.
So this is actually a really good segue into our topic today. And today we're going to be talking a lot about college soccer and college goalkeeping, obviously. And obviously these students are learning things like camera setups, visual production, all those sorts of things, because that's what most college goalkeepers are actually majoring in, is some sort of influencing or social media production or app development, because it seems that's what everyone does in the world nowadays. Unless there's a goalkeeper out there who wants to be an electrician, because feel free to come and figure out what's going on with my lights. I would love for that.
There's plenty of need right now.
Yeah. Is there currently an NCAA Division I school that is really well known for its electrical department, and we can get some of those goalkeepers recruited over there? So
no, that would be ideal. Yeah, hey, look, the details of setting up the podcast have a nice parallel to the details of the college level, because it's not always just the same old, similar stuff you're familiar with every single day. It's always a little different thing each day. So the stuff we're going to go into today are like the details for goalkeeping that are in large part plaguing a lot of goalkeepers that are either trying to get into the college ranks and solidify themselves or make the jump afterwards. But very similar for us right now as we're trying to figure out the details for us.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, to kind of, unveil behind the scenes of Inside the 18, Bill and I had a conversation. I was like, hey, let's talk some EPL about what's going on this weekend. And he's like, pretty much the same thing as always in the EPL. So maybe we can try something different that might be more beneficial towards our mainly American audience.
Yeah, I mean, look, the EPL is great because it's the highest level, at least for right now. At some point, that'll change in the future. But that's where most of the top goalkeepers.
Hey, Real Embolo thinks that Major League Soccer one day.
I feel you.
And then maybe that's just because that's what Atlanta United told him to say. But
they'd have to change a lot of things to get there. Yeah, it's always fun to talk about the top goalkeepers and the pressures and demands of that game, but I don't know. It feels a little redundant at this point to continually praise the best. So wanted to kind of not only talk about something that we see a wide spectrum of success and failure, but also something that's very, very relatable. These goalkeepers are not a far off step from a lot of goalkeepers that may be listening, or certainly the ones that are in the youth ranks or trying to get to the college level for most of them. So it's very relatable, I think, to go through today. And again, it's going to be a lot of stuff that kind of covers a lot of different things. And certainly in some of these clips, you're not going to see something that someone's trained before. It's going to be something that's kind of odd that they just had to figure out kind of a solution for in the moment. So I will always love to sink my teeth into the American scene first over something abroad. So.
Well, It's very xenophobic of you, Bill. No, I'm kidding. Bill, don't worry, guys. Bill's an ally. I will say this though. Before we do that, I just want to give a big shout out to all the new followers and fans of Inside the 18 that we've been getting in the past week. Bill and I have made a conscious decision to churn out content every single day. It's not easy, but luckily enough, there's a lot going on in the goalkeeping world, so we're able to do that. And through all that social media content that a lot of you guys have been seeing, I know that a lot of new fans have surfaced this week. So shout out to all you guys. Keep watching all our stuff. Keep subscribing. Keep sharing the content. That's all how we keep getting better, right, Bill?
Yeah, look, I'm much more interested in building something collectively than, either getting very tribalistic or very fractured. Like, hey, let's all move together. But with that, like, it's a little bit at a time. It's not one answer that just solves everything. It's a little bit at a time. We all move forward together. So yeah, it's I'm looking forward to this new phase.
And we got some great comments yesterday on this clip that we put out there in regards to like don't use goalkeeper templates, and that was based on a conversation that Bill and I had. I think it was a few weeks ago, in regards to you see these session designs where goalkeepers are doing things the same way over and over and over again. And one person in the comment section, I believe it was Goalie Gamer 0, so shout out to Goalie Gamer 0, made a really great comment. They went to a Schalke a session over in the Bundesliga youth session there, and they saw 3 goalkeepers doing the same session design, and the coaching behaviors based on their actions were completely different by the goalkeeper coach because of their profiles. And I was like, yes, that's where we need to get to. It's so amazing. I mean, it's like I was saying, I was training this kid a few weeks back. He was like 6'4", and he's like a tarantula. He's like Kevin Durant in goal. He's like just got these long wingspan arms. So for him, clean handling and containment is very difficult based on his profile. So where he has confidence is in steering. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If he's more effective being able to steer that same shot that me with my small, shoulder base, broad shoulders and big hands and little limbs, makes me sound like an armadillo of some sort, is more easily containable than steering because I don't have that long wingspan, then by all means do that, as long as it's effective and it puts it in a safe area.
Yeah, I remember thinking when I was first getting gloves, back when I was a child, and my thought was, just get the biggest glove as possible, then you'll be able to, but then you start, like, it's like too big, and like you've got that weird gap on the end of your fingers. And, I think about how, people love to ream Shaq for having poor free throw percentage, but his hands are so big. So there is something about having, like, if your hands are too big, like actually controlling a ball can get a little difficult because now your hands are kind of on top of each other. And the other extreme is not great either. But we definitely need to be mindful, not from only a coaching perspective, but also if we're in goal, we need to think, okay, the coach told me X, Y, Z, but realistically, like, here are the demands of this moment or this game or this situation. And recognize, hey, what do I need to do to be successful here? Keeping in mind the textbook answer, but realistically thinking, hey, the moment is now, and the textbook may or may not apply.
And as always, I got some negative feedback from some people in DMs and all that stuff, and I wanted to reemphasize, and so I put it in the comments section of actually an IG post of it, that I did not mean don't teach technique. I did not mean that we don't introduce any of these foundational activities and techniques. I mean is that allow goalkeepers to explore and experiment to find what is effective for them, so they can pull from their toolbox, and they've done all these different activities, they've done all these different techniques, and they found what works for them. Yeah,
look, I mean, it's like
I'm not saying like don't teach a kid how to handle a ball properly. It's like
it's like classic internet where you like make some sort of nuanced comment, and it's like the extreme of that is taken. Mm-hmm. No, look, I mean, you need your frameworks, especially at younger ages. You kind of need to understand like what are your options, what tools are even available. But it's the goalkeeper playing at the end of the day, and if they get to a point where they think, hey, this doesn't really work for me, then yeah, you're going to have to break some templates. And realistically, every goalkeeper that has had any success has done that. You're going to go find something that works more for you than for other people. And that's totally okay. But that doesn't mean we need to go to the extreme where, you're facing backwards or you're standing on your head and just doing the opposite at every encounter. Like that would be ridiculous. So find those spots for you where it works good for you. Even as a coach, find the things that work for you, or find what works for that goalkeeper, but also consider, hey, there's a reason why a textbook answer is the textbook answer. Like it applies for a lot of people.
Exactly. And by the way, I just want to say that if anybody out there has a conflicting opinion, please share it with us. Like the whole idea is to like invoke thought and to like and to debate back and forth. It's not about, otherwise it's just Bill and I agreeing with each other, which is like not as interesting, right? So if you have a difference,
no, that is interesting that we always agree.
I don't know. I mean, I think, Bill, I think you may be having some people come on the show when I'm not available that have a difference of opinion, and I'm really excited to see how you handle those situations, because I've been talking to some of these guests off the air, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. There's one private goalkeeper coach in particular. I can't wait for him to come on the show. So
good. I mean, look, we live in a time of like hot takes, so like kind of whatever. But just because someone says something, I don't know. Like the angry DM is like the most cowardly thing to do. Like I just don't, I don't care. You're gonna go do it in private and say I didn't like that. Okay, well.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Exactly. Yeah. Give context. And that's another thing too, guys. If you're seeing any of our posts out there, I know Bill is very, very good at this, is like, make sure that you're invoking some thought in your comments. If you want to share something that's going to be productive and you disagree, great. If you're just saying, I don't agree with that, or like, oh, that's awesome, I don't know how much that's helping the world either. So try to bring more to the table. Let's all just try to do better. We're trying to do better. As some great goalkeeper coaches out there, always say, Jill Lloyden always says to me, she's like, every day she's trying to do better. She's trying to do better. So, all right, let's take a little break real quick right now. For those of you guys who are on YouTube or watching on any other streaming service right now, we're going to continue on the show, but we're going to take a little break right here for a revenue stream. All right, and we're back. That was a quick break right there, Bill Reno, wasn't it?
I was running around there for a little bit. Yeah, I'm good to go. I'm settled now.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So let's get into the topic. So what do you want to share with us right now here on these college goalkeepers? And first off, just real quick context, what are some of the skill sets that you see right now in college goalkeeping that you feel are transferable to the next level? And what is not transferable to the next level?
So the big theme for today is really kind of diving into where goalkeepers are finding success and where they're not. And some of that may seem kind of obvious of like, oh, you got to do these things, but we're going to get into some very specific examples. And a lot of it's not going to be very trainable is what I would say. It's hard to replicate these moments exactly. Some of it may be a little bit here and there, but there's even on some of them, there's a little nuance to it that's hard to train. So the goalkeepers that are finding success are the ones that can problem solve, that know how to find a tool or their own individualistic thing that helps them find success. They might have some templates somewhere in there, but I would argue some of these errors that we're going to go through are because the template is getting overused. So we're going to see a bunch of, I was trying to think of the right terminology for this. You might have to help me a little bit on this, Michael, but we're going to look at some mistakes that provide an opportunity to grow.
I like how you called them mistakes as opposed to shockers or howlers, as the interweb loves to call these things, as if like the goalkeeper intentionally tried to do the worst thing possible.
Yeah, it is funny whenever a goalkeeper or any player messes up and they're like, match fixing, they must be like, it's like, look, I don't know if you know this, but
all that match fixing going on at NCAA soccer, college soccer.
Money on the line here, yeah. So we're going to look at two sets of clips. So the first sets of clip is our mistakes, our learning moments, and these kind of range from like some really bad mistakes to some that are maybe go by quickly, no one really thinks much about them. But to kind of go through these a little bit, again, like the thread is, hey, can we problem solve in a moment that is kind of difficult to train and difficult to prep for? So we're going to look at, and I apologize for any butchering of names, but this is going to be our first clip here. We have Olivia Busby with Harvard, and I think we can see the intentionality here. She's going to make a very simple save from her left, no big deal, and then she's going to look to play. So she still has ball in hand, ball's live here, and you can start to see UMass is starting to spread out here, and you can see the idea that Busby has, but obviously very quickly it kind of comes back on goal here. Now there's no goal from the play, and this is one of those where everyone kind of breathes a big sigh of relief off of it, but to just go through it again, this is one of those things where we're kind of overusing a template here. So yes, we want to control and play out of the back and maintain possession. You can see there's some big gaps in the field here. And so I think we can all kind of understand, we see the intentionality, but that 10 for UMass, sorry, I don't know the name of every player on the field here, but the 10 for UMass in the red shirt there, she's looking to jump this pass, which happens all the time. So a lot of times midfielders will kind of incentivize a pass from the goalkeepers and say, yeah, go play that person. That person's wide open. And by the time the ball gets there, they've made a nice little tackle here. And so this is one of those moments as a goalkeeper, we need to keep our head up and realize okay, hey, if I am going to make this pass, it really needs to be detailed out here. And she could have faded a little bit more to the left there, so her teammate has plenty of space to go into. She could have kind of faked this and then found another option here. She could have faked over to the right, then found it back to the left. She's got a couple of ways to put some nuance off of it, but just because she's kind of thrown this ball out and kind of skipped this ball in, it's very easy for the UMass player to go stomp on this and at the very least push it back into her second defender, which in this case is the forward here.
I will say this right here. I see the intent.
Yep.
I see the intent, and I think that the execution was reasonably on point, but I think that the issue here is risk versus reward and recognizing not every scenario is the same. Certain pictures, this is effective, but based on how narrow that is right there in regards to the containment by the defense, the attacking players, is that it's a real tough situation. If these two, and I don't know if you guys can see, while Bill is screen sharing or whatever, if those two, outside, inside forwards right there, if they were a little bit wider, then I think there's enough time for the pivot and the turn to get out of danger and even for herself to put herself into a support position. And then the other thing that I would point out right there is that there was a lot of telegraphing in my mind. I think the intent was there, but yet there was no masking or disguise of that pass whatsoever. So those players knew from the get-go where that ball was going. And again, if they were a little bit wider, it doesn't matter because you can probably sneak out of it. But because they're so narrow, I don't know. Thoughts?
Well, no, I think that you've raised up a lot of potential solutions, and I would say any one of those goes a long ways. Finding some way to put a wrinkle into the opposing press goes a long way. So even just a little feint to the right, if maybe her eyes are looking over to the right or way over to the left, and then she finds or making the ball a little bit smoother, maybe drifting the ball. There's a lot of little options that she could have chose, which honestly, any of them, I think if she picks up, this play, doesn't come back on goal. Now, again, doesn't turn into a goal, and things are going to always miscue, but we don't want to go create chances for the opposition. And we are asking a little bit of our six here to be able to spin 180 into what is seemingly kind of a blind spot. Even though we can see she has space, she maybe doesn't know that. And also, she just probably doesn't, based off her response here, her teammate doesn't quite know what to do with this ball. As she plays it, maybe the keeper shouts, turn right, turn right, turn right. That changes things. So it's a lot of options here. And again, the template, okay, build out of the back, but how do we get through, from point A to point C? You've got to have some nuance. You've got to have some detail in it. So
now, again, depending on the environment too, right? So if you think about it, this level versus if that was North Carolina and that's Kaylin Sheridan making that exact same movement, there's probably going to be just a little bit more speed on the play, going to be, a little bit higher IQ from the outfield players or whatever. I mean, we're nitpicking right here, but
sure. Well, this all goes back to the bigger point, where do we find success? And it's going to be in these nitpicky details. Now, and to prove that point, Kaylin Sheridan did not go to UNC. She went to Clemson. So all more of like making sure we get our details right off that, Michael.
No. I was talking about North Carolina as an NWCL.
Oh, okay.
NWCL.
Oh, okay. Oh, you're right. Okay, you're right.
I know she went to Clemson. She didn't know that Clemson was in the South.
I'm in college back.
She thought it was like like New York or something like that. She actually told me that.
Oh, did she? Yeah. Okay. She got a pleasant surprise when she got down there in August.
Yeah, she did. Definitely did. Kaylin, sorry to put you on blast right there.
All right, next clip is from the Delaware Navy game. This game, unfortunately, ends 2-2, which I say unfortunately because you see this goal here, which is going to be an own goal, but Delaware's taking this free kick. And we can't really see where the goalkeeper starts. Based off where she is right here, I'm guessing she's either right at the top of the six or maybe a step past it. And the reason I bring that up is because when this ball is going to get headed, it's going to be about 3-4 yards from where she was, but she ends up retreating to goal. So thinking back towards the problem of a template here, it's going to feel nice to kind of just fall back into space here, but there's a few things that go wrong in this play. So first off, obviously this is a Navy player. This is an own goal on this play. So Navy heads ball, unfortunately back a goal, but our goalkeeper, Natasha Stramude, hopefully I'm saying that right. But she drops back into space, which feels comfortable, but she actually hasn't really covered what she's trying to do here, which in this case, this ball's going to pop up over here. And we see a lot of the upward movement, which we think back to our NWSL video from last week. We don't see her going back towards crossbar here. So she's dropped into space, but she actually
it goes back to our topic, on the clip on Tuesday about the back to the bar actions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So how do we, if we're going to go drop into space, like you've got to make sure that you're fulfilling that all the way out. So again, details here. And this is very difficult to train. Like I don't know how you train this situation, but if you're going to go make an action, you've got to see that all the way through. So if you're going to drop off, make sure you've dropped off in a way that you can cover the back to the bar. But also, I think alternatively, she could just go get this ball. So to kind of rewind it here.
Well, first off, Bill, she's definitely fit enough based on playing the fact that she plays at Navy. So she's probably been doing up downs since yesterday. So fitness is not an issue. Fitness is not an issue here. She's explosive enough to do this.
Yeah. So she could go get this ball that's inside the penalty spot by a yard or two. Like she could go get that if she's starting top of the six. That's a 3-4 yard run. Just that's probably not too difficult. But even if she's going to drop in, like do it right so that you've covered it here. But even here, like I think she still could get this if she drop steps in. So are we nitpicking? Yes, absolutely. And is this a really unfortunate goal? Absolutely. I would not expect this to happen to Navy again for another 5 years. Like it's a very unique situation. However, if you're wanting to find success not only at this level but also propel forward, like this is the sort of things that the coaches are going to be looking at. And I do think it's savable, but you have to do all the little details right. You can't just hope to make sure it gets cleared out. Like you've got to make sure you cover everything. So very nuanced play, very unfortunate. It could have been a 2-1 win for Navy, but obviously it's a disappointing own goal that, you're going to have the hands on head moment here from everyone.
Hold on. Can you go back to the clip again?
Yeah, sure.
Real quick. Okay. So, by the way, one of the really cool things I love about this, Bill, is that you're also recognizing scenarios and you're showing pictures from events that happened in not just, North Carolina versus Duke or something along those types, or Michigan and UCLA. Like you're showing examples at all the different levels of the college game.
Our last couple of days from a junior college. Just you wait. So
yeah.
I'm just prepping that.
So this is not this is not like nitpicking at the highest levels. It's like we're showing at all the different levels. A couple things. One is that you're right. I've never done a session design on like, hey, your center back comes to head a ball and it flips over the other direction. Let's work on that. You're right. Maybe I don't know if that's something that I need to start doing or what exactly. But I will say this is that like you have to recognize like can I affect the ball? And what if my player's already coming for this ball? What do I serve by being that high off my line? Because I'm not affecting the play one direction or the other. And again, we're nitpicking right here. So If a player's already going, okay, maybe I'm going to drop my depth in case anything happens, and then I'm on my line, and then I can play that ball over, or I'm there just to cleanly handle the ball. So I don't know. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, I think I would even just take your point from the first clip. It's like, you've got options, like choose which option fits for you. Like if you want to go do X or Y, that's fine. Honestly, you could go get this ball, you could go sit in, but do it right. If you're going to go drop into the goal line, do it right. Don't go to a spot where you've kind of covered it, but not realistically, because then this sort of stuff happens. But if you're going to come out, then like see it all the way through, whether that's a catch or a box away, like that, it's going to be a decision on your part, but make sure you're seeing your thought all the way out and not just 80%, because a lot of times you'll get away with it. Like the clip before, you'll get away with it, but sometimes, an 80%, approach is just not going to cover everything. And again, I don't think it's an athletic issue. Like you can see, like she gets up, like she's there, but just more like her lead up into her positioning, but then also her physical response is like it's a little too up, not drop step there.
I think it's a combination of the starting position and the tactical awareness of understanding what are the outcomes on this action, and am I in a good position for any of these three outcomes that could come about of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if she's there and that ball's headed out, no one's going to say anything, and she's not going to learn anything from it. But with this now that happens, it's probably not going to happen to her again, because she's going to recognize, remember that one time that I came and I was kind of stuck in between in a waffle position, and that ball was headed back towards my goal. So now she's going to be more mindful of that. And these are teachable moments that I think help a goalkeeper get to that next level and play at that next level.
For sure. It's very unlikely that she's ever going to see a play like this, exactly like this again. However, she is going to have that in the back of her head of like, hey, this can still come on goal somehow. And we're going to see a couple more clips from long balls and from free kicks. But have that sort of feeling of like, oh, hey, just done this little thing, like that will translate to a lot of different spots. So going to the men's game here, Coastal Carolina versus NC State. In goal, we have Will Devine for Coastal. On call, we have a friend of the podcast, Justin Bryant, and no audio, but I just want to give him a shout out. But this ball that comes in, which Justin very aptly points out in the video, is a really nasty ball. It's a really difficult ball to deal with. It's going to be kind of ducking and then really getting in low. So this goalkeeper has to make a decision. Do I stay out or go for this? Or do I stay out? Do I stay or go out for it? And he decides to go. As you'll see in kind of the replays here, it's one of those plays that really, he gets very...
Such a dangerous ball. It's such a dangerous ball.
The ball is
really hard.
Really good.
Really hard to be effective on that.
Yeah. And this, like you'll see, it drops in really low here. And so we're going to get one more camera angle that shows it the best.
I'm okay. I'll see it on the closer action right here.
Yeah. So you're gonna see like he actually, I think he gets a little bit on it, and this play poses a lot of problems because even if he does punch out, it could just bounce back and go on goal. So how do we actually affect this ball in a way that you're not really risking anything? Certainly, it going under our hands is not really ideal. Because you've got that back post player there. But also, if you're going to box in a certain direction, you have challenges there. If we can hold, great. We've had the option of also the flip, which I think Emmy Martinez does pretty well, to be honest. But
can you go back to the initial before the service real quick?
Oh yeah, I can.
Just go back to before the service, right here, right. So as that ball drifts in right there, he could drop step and put himself in a position to get big on a spread. Is an option, but it's going to be pretty hard. The way that ball drops right there, I think that's one of the most dangerous balls in soccer, in my opinion, for a goalkeeper to handle. If you are going to go for that ball, you've got to go with your shape towards the inswing as away from the inswing. And I think it looks, from what I could see based on that his body shape was away from the inswing, so he's not really covering the space. I think this is probably the most difficult play of the 5 clips we have. See how
here.
He's going away from the inswing as opposed to in towards the inswing. So if he shot body towards near post, as opposed to see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think this is where he's kind of caught between. Hey,
I would love to know what Justin thought.
The play kind of moved on a little quick, but he was very quick to point out like this is a really difficult ball for any goalkeeper to face. He didn't really get into like solutions. I don't know if that's really was the time on the broadcast, but I would be curious to hear what he would think. But I think this is one of the things where he's maybe not really wanting to come to this ball immediately, but then recognizes, hey, this is going to be put into a really dangerous play. And them shooting 5-6 yards out with me on the goal line, like I'm basically a cone, I'm only going to.
And that's the problem is like if you drop step to try to spread there, like there's a very little chance unless they hit it into your space. And if you just make yourself as big as you can. I also will say right here, there's one problem with one of the actions that I would think of as a leg sweep. And the problem with that is that you could be giving up a penalty and get a red card because that could end up being a dangerous play. The player goes into it. There's no way to argue that you weren't going feet first direct.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think he has a really good idea here. Like, hey, I'm just going to go catch at this highest point, which in this case, like, is kind of here because he's coming from such a deep lying position. He can't catch it higher or get it higher. I think for me, the only thing I would say is like see it all the way through. Again, like details here. Like this ball shouldn't be slipping under your hands or just by your hands. Like if anything,
should have made contact with the ball in some fashion,
in some sort of way. Now it's very difficult because it's not just the opposition running at you.
It's your team.
It's everyone's running at you. Yeah. Like that's a very difficult play to go deal with. Like I said, I think this is most difficult from the 5 clips we'll go through. But we have options here. I think actually the spread save, I hadn't thought about that. But that's kind of a creative solution that if someone had thought, hey, I can just go close a distance and be big, I would, or, you see some of those Michael, like big starfish save, like maybe something like I, as long as it went through completely, I don't think anyone could really criticize too much of, oh, you should have done this. Cause this is especially a very difficult play, but if you had seen it all the way through, all right, well, you bet on yourself, you did what you could, as opposed to, well, I tried something, but I didn't actually execute it all the way that I wanted it to. Well,
also, by the way, I will say at this level, in this environment, that should be scored. That should be scored.
Well, that's kind of part of the point with these clips is at this level, you'll get a little grace here and there. At the next level, you won't. If you're really wanting to go jump forward here and play after this level, you're going to get away with things here that, the striker just didn't put it on target or didn't convert, whatever. But at the next level, they're going to really punish you for that. And you're not going to have as much grace, this sort of stuff. So just watch it.
True, but even at the MLS level, if you gave up that goal, no one's going to say anything. No one's going to be like, oh, goalkeeper really should have made that save.
Well, it was probably more of a product of like MLS goalkeepers get a bit of a pass of like.
Here comes the MLS hate by Bill Reno. Come on.
I don't, like it's very, very rare that we actually criticize our MLS goalkeepers, but either way, they're gonna punish you, and probably more in house. You're gonna get more shtick for it than.
Okay, how about this? At USL Championship, you're not going to get no one.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is like you're going to get more in, like your coaches and your teammates are going to get onto you more. You're not going to get publicly inflamed for that play, but like your coaches are going to look at that and they're going to go through film and they're going to be like, "What were you doing there? Like, why didn't you went for it, but then you didn't get it?" Like they're going to ask you those questions at that level.
Okay, so before you move on to this clip right here, let's just hold that thought. We're going to take a little break right here, for a little bit more a sponsorship talk, and then we'll kind of get back to it. But as we take this break right now, I want all the people who are watching this right now and listening to think about what would you do in this scenario, and please leave us comments after this episode drops. Okay, and we're back. Bill, what we got going here?
Well, so I mentioned the match fixing comment. I did see something about this play to kind of preface this. These are rough goals to watch. They're poor goals. To give some context, this is the goalkeeper's second collegiate start ever. And both the plays are a little, again, it's hard to train for these, certainly the second one. And so, look, things go wrong, and it's not my place to come in and just beat up someone. It's not anyone's job to do that. The goalkeeper is going to feel worse on their own than for anything we could say about it.
Is this the UConn play that I've been seeing all over the?
Yeah. So we're going to show both. Okay. We're going to show both goals, which I think the context of the first one may actually impact the second one as well. It's a 2-1 win for UConn. So Boston's goalkeeper Jill Humphreys is in goal. I'm pretty sure it's her second collegiate start. Playing at UConn, that's a tough place to play at. It's a very prestigious program. So the first goal comes in from over from the goalkeeper's left. Kind of this looping long ball comes in. And it's not the first time I've seen this from a goalkeeper do something like this, but it's a tough goal to see just because, it's not a technical issue, although some people would say, oh, technically you need to do, make sure your elbows are tucked in together. It's obviously like a more psychological one of someone's barreling down on you, and a play that's like a little tricky because you've got your own teammate running in. And this is something that we have to have the right focus, not like the right technique. And so when we talk about templates, technique is important, but if your mind isn't in the right spot, you're going to see mistakes like this come through. Now, I'll just point out her teammates do not help her at all. That second defender's not doing anything. That third defender just watches it go by, or like lots of chances for them to cover her.
Obviously, everyone who's watching this and who's been making comments on the videos, throughout the week on the internet, like, oh, well, I wouldn't have come out on that ball. Well, yeah, but now you've made that action. So how do you accomplish your goal, or at least do as little damage as possible once you've made the... See, I think that's the one thing that I kind of have issues with a lot of the comments on videos that I see online, is that people say, well, I would have blah, blah. First off, you're not that person. Your profile is different than that person, as we've been talking about earlier. And second of all, yes, that's great, but you already have. So how do you solve the problem now? Problem solving is about, okay, now I've done something. How do I adjust from there?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, the sort of thing of like, oh, I would have done this, they should have done this. Like, you're excluding everything and you're just getting into a hyper focus of like your immediate response. And you think that's just
I would have held my near post. Well, she didn't. So I don't know what to tell you.
We're here now.
Now what are you going to do? What if you didn't hold your near post? How would you handle the situation?
Yeah. So you look at any goalkeeper, you can find a bad moment from any of them. And so, this one stings for, I think we can all feel the gut punch of like watching this happen. And so to kind of think like, hey, this has already happened in the early part of the game. The second goal comes with like the dying seconds left. And I don't have a clock on it, unfortunately, but I'm pretty sure this ball goes in with 1 second left. And so we're going to see the first goal here. It's tied 1-1. Boston get a goal back. But the shot comes in from distance. Now from here, it really looks like she just watches it trickle in, which is what my immediate thought is. So watching it here, I'm pretty sure this ball has some crazy spin on it, because you're going to see at some point it's really kind of like left of the goal, and it kind of starts coming back in. And I think that's what that goalkeeper is thinking, like, oh, there's 3 seconds left. I don't want to give up a corner because it's a ball with some movement, some spin on it. I'm just going to let it go out. And you can see like it looks like it's going wide of the goal, but then it
gosh.
Yeah, it kind of spins back in. Like it's a really, and again, like how do you train? You cannot train that. That is untrainable situation. So in these moments, like, look, it looks really bad, and it is a bad goal. Like we can just say that. But it's one of those things like, hey, see this stuff all the way through, but also, this is a poor goal. But what is the threat to this? It's like, it's not seeing stuff all the way through, and it's something that's difficult for every goalkeeper. It's not just, oh, this one goalkeeper is not very good, everyone else is very good. That's not the situation. You're getting faced with situations that you haven't trained for, that are a little odd, that, again, it's a 1-1 game, your second collegiate game. You're trying to walk away with some points here. You're seeing a scenario you've never trained for that has crazy spin off of it. Just kind of showed again here. Like this ball is like clearly going wide.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's
like the field is slanted is how the ball comes in.
Yeah. So, real quickly, Bill, I want to say something about that, because, we've been talking about, being able to improvise, and, not every scenario is the same or whatever. I think one of the biggest problems, and this is an issue in regards to our topic of the skill set thing, is that like so many goalkeepers at the youth level entering into the college ranks only know how to handle cookie cutter template scenarios that they've trained over and over and over again. and they don't know how to think for themselves in the moment on how I can do something different. I think she is trying to do something there. I think there is intent at that last moment to stick her leg out and try to make a play.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'll take it on.
Watch. See?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
It seems like she's almost caught between two minds.
So she's trying to improvise there and find a way to do less damage.
Well, that's a really. I don't want to say I didn't recognize. That's a really good. I would say if I'm her goalkeeper coach, and
that's why I'm here. No.
I would say, hey, just like we take the slide tackle, kick it out. Like does that look clean? Obviously not. No, but if you have an idea, like let's go with it. You're in tenths of a second response time. Like we can't be debating. Well, this, that. Like it's going to be too late.
And it's college soccer. There's no extra time, so just doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah,
somersault and fall on the ball. I don't know.
It's a stinger of a play because I hate seeing. I don't want to watch any more of the replay. But I'll just say this: like, there's more soccer ahead for this goalkeeper here, and this is a poor goal. But as we're going to see through here, we're seeing poor goals through this first part of the season. Idea here, so just kind of wind it back. This is Tatum Trout with Southern Utah. Now they lose the game 3-0, so the goal kind of whatever. You can see those flags in the background. If you ever are kind of wondering the wind situation, look for something in the background. You can see the wind is really swirling. It's not even just one direction swirling. And this is one of those plays that, again, you cannot train. No one is spending any time training this. I guess you could train it, but no one is spending any time training it. But that hop is kind of crazy. Mm-hmm. That ball maybe bounces over the goal. Like it's a really high hop. And so this is one of those things like figuring out all the details all the way through. Now, she has committed to an action. She's put her toes on the top of the 18, so I'll give her that. But of thinking of when that ball hits the ground, there might be some backspin, there might be some forward spin, there might be some...
So here, this is something I do train. This is something I do. I have trained with goalkeepers, okay? I actually do train this, and it's the reset action. Because this happens every weekend in the youth game. Every weekend in the youth game, you will see this. There's this field called Lancaster out here in Southern California, and the winds, especially in the wintertime, swirl like you wouldn't believe, and it's like you might as well be playing in tornado. And so it's this thing that I've been working with a lot of young goalkeepers is the immediate reset that you need to make once a ball hits the ground. And it's something as simple as dropping for depth to reassess your action. She's caught flat-footed here. I'm not blaming her in any way whatsoever, but she did not reset when that ball hit the ground. She reacted as if she knew what the flight was going to still be. And does that make sense? No, absolutely, yeah. And it's when the ball hits the ground off the big forward long ball that is just kind of hopelessly sent forward. It's basically like another touch on. It's like another shot. Think of it that way. It's like, hey, like that's why you need to get reset. It's like you don't know quite what's going to happen, and a lot of times it'll be fairly familiar. But if it's a field that you see, this is not their home field. You've got it swirling winds. I don't know temperature, spin the ball, what like actions before or after, but like you've got things to consider here. So just go put your toes on the top of the 18. Like, that's a very optimistic approach. If she had kind of got even in like a runner stance kind of set position to kind of read the next action, we could take that for sure. But this is one of those things that you want to see these details all the way through. Is that once that ball hits the ground, it's a new scenario. And the options of the ball are different than they were earlier. Yeah. It's the same thing as like you're saying is that if that had dropped to another player, well, now the actions are going to be different because the scenario is different. No, absolutely. So enough pain points here. We're some positive stuff. We're getting some positive. Okay. I want to do those first, so we get them out of the way here. So we get on a more positive note. But the thread through all this again is like seeing stuff through. So even on the saves here, we're going to look at a couple things. I've got 5 saves here we can run through. This is Rowan Snbly with Stanford here. Now, I think this is easy to kind of criticize a little bit of like, oh, why didn't you just catch it? Because it really isn't that far off his body. I mean, he's here. It's a little bit of movement here, and he pushes this away. I like a lot of this
for two reasons. One, the footwork is nice. It's not just up and go. You'll see footwork here, which is really nice, which actually covers. I
love the inside step. Yeah. This is something I've been working on with young goalkeepers for like the last couple weeks.
The parry is pretty strong. Now, I think he probably actually could have held this if he wanted to, but he pushes this away, not out for a corner, but this actually goes out towards the throw-in, which is wonderful. And he's up again on top of that. So
I love the recovery movement. That was so quick. And the track. He's still there on the track, even on the recovery movement.
So there's a lot of little details in this play that he's seen this all the way through. Now, I think at the next level, this probably becomes a little bit more of a common save, but this is something that gets you in the door. Like, oh, if someone sees that, like, wow, they track that ball, they move their footwork, they smart parry, they got back up. Like, there's a lot of little details on this play. Could we ask for a little bit more? Yeah, sure. But because he's done all those little details, we can ask for more, which is kind of a cool feeling. So nice, lovely little save there. This next one's going to look a little funny.
Hold on, can you go back to that clip real quick right here? I just want to go from the initial at the top. So go to the top, right? Okay, hold right here, okay? Look at the focus right there, and I want a lot of young goalkeepers to recognize the starting positions right here, okay? Based on the positionings of his defenders, he is with ball line, but slightly off ball line, recognizing that his defender has that space covered. So this is what you need to start recognizing at that next level. And I know a lot of young goalkeepers who work with me are right now saying, it's like, but you say ball line, ball line, ball line, ball line. Again, every scenario is different, and you have to recognize, okay, what are the options? And also, where is that ball? That ball is closer to back post than front post. So why would you hug that front post where you've got obstructed view than be right here? And that's what's going to get him to that next level, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a lot of little detail here. I'll say this, like the idea of the one thing I maybe would disagree with, the idea of like a defender covering part of the goal is a really kind of loosey-goosey thing for me because, and we'll see another clip, like you can have a defender get megged. I mean, that's what happens in that Boston goal. That's why it deflects, because it goes through the legs there. As long as you can see the ball, you're in a really good spot. So I think sometimes people...
that's my thing, is that sometimes young goalkeepers say, coach told me stay behind the ball. And they can't see the ball because their defender's in front of them.
Yeah.
So you're not really... It's like being in a wall and like being right behind your wall.
No, I think that's a good point, because especially from a shot from distance, you're going to have time to move your feet, which we get to see here. But he's kind of like out of position, so to speak. However, because he can see the play and he's ready to move, he'll just cover that. Now, like if that gets tucked up or 90 all the way, like that's not really on him. But he can still cover a lot of this goal. Like that's not as far as he can go. He can go even further there. So just because you're a little out of position, but if you're set and you can see, well, that's better than being in the quote unquote right position, but you can't see the ball and you're not set. Like that. So a lot of little pieces go to it. So it's a nice little lovely save here. Really strong parry as well. The ball almost bounces first time out.
Really good steer. So.
Another one here. This is from the Florida State-Florida rivalry game. We're going to start zoomed out here. Shout out to Spidio. And the ball is on Florida's taking a corner kick. So this is the Florida goalkeeper, Jaden Emanuel. And she is about to do a lot of running here. Florida State get a counter. So I've just kind of set it here. So we're going to cut to in a sec, but I just want to show that like this goalkeeper has managed to not only like cover a lot of ground, but she's actually fixing a mistake. So she stepped towards the ball there and realized, hey, I'm not getting there. There's no way. And so she starts dropping in. Now, could we see, right here, you could see a loft. Yeah. But I think understanding from a striker point of view, hey, the goalkeeper's not in the 18 anymore. So it's understandable why the striker keeps going. We're going to cut to a more favorable camera angle here in a second.
Great recovery movement.
There we go.
Great recovery position.
So covers a ton of distance here. And watch, she's just going to end up getting set again. So you talked about getting that reset here. This is kind of the inverse of the play. She's tracked back 50 yards and got set. She's probably holding her breath a little bit, trying to get herself ready for this next play here. But who's in control? It's the goalkeeper. It's not the striker. Yeah. The goalkeeper said, hey, I'm going to make you really work to beat me. So not only does she does an awesome track back, but she's exactly where she needs to be. And as the striker comes in, the striker's like, I don't know what to do. I thought this was going to be a lot easier than it was going to be. And she makes a nice little big time save here. And Florida ended up winning this game 3-1, that was kind of crazy, but just kind of shows again.
See, I love the reset. I love the reset. Step, drop. Step, drop. Oh, look at that. Look, and she commits to her action. She's like, you know what? It's drop, 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 drop. And as I've been saying to so many young goalkeepers, most of our actions, based on the way that a lot of teams are playing, are going to be negative movements rather than positive movements. Rather than goal forward, they're going to be high to low actions. And we need to train more of those in training.
Yeah, the negative movements are crucial. If you're just training someone between two posts and like they're on heels on the line, like that's not the game. So a lovely control, but also like little small detail. Again, we're talking details today. She calls for the clear as well. She could have just made the save and be done with it, but she's seeing the play all the way through. For me, from last year to this year, this is a huge growth on her part. This is very cool to see.
Let's take one more quick break, except for those of you guys who are watching the stream right now. And I want you guys all to think about any clips that you've seen in the past week and share them in the comments, after you watch this podcast. Because we'd love to see what your guys' thoughts are, not only on these clips, but other clips that you're seeing out there. And we'll be right back. All right, Bill, let's close this out.
All right, fine.
Close strong.
Yeah. So we got the last one I really love. This one I was saving one for last, but this one, it may not look that crazy, but again, we're looking at, hey, how do you find success at this level, and what is that? What do you need to do to have a chance at the next level? This is a great example for me. So this is Toby Maurer in for West Virginia. I'm pronouncing it right, Toby. So he's tracking this ball well, and this is kind of one of those times where like your defender ends up almost being your worst enemy off this, because that ball ends up megging his defender here. You're going to see on the replay here. This defender comes in, he's actually covered past the goal. And what does the goalkeeper do? Not only make the save, but you can tell he's tracking this all the way. Now it gets a little clunky here. The ball spills, but that's a lot of control that he's putting intentionally on the ball, as opposed to, which I think we've seen a ton of times, a goalkeeper makes that save, which isn't that hard to do, but it spills to the top of the 6, and then it's a goal. And then everyone says, oh, nothing goalkeeper could do. Well, actually, there is something the goalkeeper can do. You can hold this ball, which is wonderful to see. So he makes this play here, not only through the Meg, but also even as the ball spills, he's still keeping his eyes on this play of like, how can I control this, as opposed to like it getting loose off him. So it's not the most amazing save, but this skill set here goes a long, long ways for goalkeepers, trying to make it a call, trying to make it after, of seeing the play all the way through. A little detail here, catches his breath and gets ready for the next play here, which is wonderful. So love this play from Toby Maurer.
And again, you're like, as I stress to young goalkeepers, like the ball's not contained until it's contained. So don't just assume that you've contained it.
Very deep way to phrase that. The ball's not contained.
I mean, because I had this happen to me yesterday with a young goalkeeper, and I was like, they were like, but I can play the ball quickly. I'm like the number one thing is make sure the ball's contained before you think about the distribution. This is my issue with a lot of, actions I see on social media, is goalkeepers see things out of context and they think, oh, so-and-so just look at that quick play, that quick distribution that they played right there, how cool that looked. Yeah, but like they had to make sure that they contained it first before they made that action. It maybe happened so fast because they're playing at the level that they're playing at that maybe they can do it faster. At your level, you need to, number one, nose and chin looking at that ball, foundational, before trying to release. I don't know.
Well, who's the first player to get to the goalkeeper? That's not his teammate in white and green. That's the opposition. So the striker is going to look to, it's not like your defenders are rushing towards your rebounds. Like that's not what's happening. So those are good points. But I do like the phrase, it's not contained until it's contained. I like that.
Very yes, those.
All right,
you're like, as in logic is logic. Okay.
Yeah. All right, last clip. This is a junior college play. The goalkeeper is Avi Gutierrez. Hopefully, I'm saying her name right.
Shout out for you finding that.
I did find this. Yeah, and so look, I'm just going to
not a transfer market. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, look, the goalkeeper, as you're going to see here, is not the most athletic. She's not the tallest goalkeeper. But she's going to use her skill set to make this play, and it's actually not going to be too dissimilar to the first one we saw. So this is Seminole State defending here. And this is something that's a nice little play here that where she's covering distance. Now, again, we could be really critical of XYZ, but what does Avi have at her disposal? It's moving her feet, which she does wonderfully here. And so she covers a ton of the goal. And again, same with Rowan's save. I don't think that's as far as she can. Like, that's not the limit, So she sees us here. Like, she's going more up than out. Like, she could still go out a good bit here if that's where the shot was going to go. So she plays the shot perfectly, pushes this up and around, and she's covered a good part of the distance. A nice little leap there. She's going through. You can see how her body's going through. She's landed safely as well. So there's so many positives, but I think sometimes we think junior college, junior like hey, you can go still make a great action at that level. You're not limited by the level of play of making good actions. You can.
I'm not gonna lie. If you're also a 4-year school coach and you see a play like that, like that's gonna make you take a look and say, oh, you know what? Maybe we should, watch a full tape of this goalkeeper or attend a game if it's local or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, we'll see where she goes. She theoretically will have more time to move on. So fingers crossed we'll track her. But Avi Gutierrez.
Gutierrez. Where's Seminole State?
I'm guessing Florida. I don't know. Okay. I don't even know where Seminole State is. But all right.
We'll track it. We'll track it. And Avi Gutierrez, if you listen to this or watch this, please let us know how your journey continues. So.
Yeah, I mean it's an awesome thing to see. That
absolutely.
Look, just because you're not playing D1 doesn't mean you can't go do something awesome. And also, maybe that's just your pathway later. Whatever is in store for you down the line. Same for that Boston goalkeeper that with a poor mistake, or same with any of these goalkeepers. Like whatever is coming up next, you can go influence that. And you can go make those pathways there. So very cool to see across all levels here. But really, the big thread is details. If you're just going to hope and be optimistic, sometimes you'll get away with it for sure. But at some point, especially at this level, and certainly going after, like they're really going to get you on that. So. We want to know what it takes to be successful here. Like you have to see it all the way through.
And I think one way to kind of wrap up this whole episode in regards to that whole kind of topic of like what skill sets. I think basically like you're saying in the details thing is like don't train like a pro, because I hear this so many times like in goalkeeper coaching. Or you train like if you want to be a pro, you train like a pro. If you want to play in college, you train like a college player. No, you want to think like a pro. Right? So it's not just training like a pro, think like a pro. How would a pro handle these actions? How would you, in the pro environment, handle these actions? Because chances are, like, that's going to translate, in my opinion.
What did you say, 80% of it was mental? Like, I don't know what the exact percentage is, but it's a lot. You're absolutely right. Like, you start thinking the right way. If you're thinking in the right way, when a play happens you've never seen before, you're going to come to solutions a lot quicker than someone who's, not really thinking the right way and kind of getting shocked by stuff. So you have a good framework, you have a good mental framework. You're going to be able to see these plays that, hey, whoa, that was crazy that happened, but it's something you're going to be able to laugh about later because you managed to keep it out and say, oh, that was crazy that you shot on me, my defender. Like you shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. But you're going to be able to laugh at that later because you have the right framework, as opposed to, well, it's unlucky. Like I hate saying unlucky. Like anytime anyone says unlucky, really what they're saying is like, there's nothing you could have done on that play, because I don't think like you could have done anything.
You have the quality. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's a really underhanded thing to say. I really don't like saying.
And that kind of brings me back to the whole thing is like for any young coaches out there listening to this right now, from a coaching behavior standpoint, is that just because the action wasn't how you would have done it, or it would have broken down at the next level or anything like that, do not berate the goalkeeper for that if it still was effective in the moment. If it broke down, then bring it up and say, this is why. And at the next level, this happens every single time type of thing, so that they learn from that. But don't be like with the goalkeeper earlier, where that ball, kind of whizzed past right there. Well, last thing you want to do at halftime there is go like, man, you shouldn't have played that ball, blah, 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 blah. Because now you're just going to break her confidence, moving into that second half. That's a film discussion later.
I mean, certainly how you talk in game after game, there's a lot of nuances, all that. But yeah, we need to be moving forward, and we need to be, as coaches, be building. We need to be participating in that mental framework by helping build positive and helpful, tangible mental framework. That doesn't mean everything's fine, there's no problems, but it's, hey, how can we find effective solutions for stuff? Noting that, yeah, sometimes it's really difficult to get through everything, and you're just going to have to get a little creative at times. All right, give the ball the net, we can work with that. So the mental framework is a collective effort. It's not just one person working on that.
I think that's a great way to end this episode right here, guys. Mental framework. It's all mental. All mental. That brain emoji and that little university cap emoji. Those are the next to the gloves. That's kind of the theme right there. Well, Bill, awesome, man. But before we wrap up, anything you're looking forward to this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend, I think
other than sleeping.
Virginia. Yeah, sleep is a big one. Virginia Tech is playing at Georgetown. I think I'm going to go to that game. So I think that's on my. I'm not going to many games this fall, but that's what I'm going to. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. Awesome, guys. So make sure you're checking that out. And for all of you guys out there who are wondering, like, where can you find a lot of these college games? I believe SEC Network, ACC, Big Ten, you can find them all on most streaming packages right there. I think they're through the ESPN app.
Yeah, ESPN Plus.
People have out there.
Yeah, I think there is a Disney, Hulu, ESPN Plus bundle I saw today. I don't know how much. I don't want to advertise for them, but there's a lot of ways you can go find it.
I want to look and see if they're in our advertisers, and then I'll be like, hey, Bill, it's totally cool. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You can do that. But I will say this right now for all the young goalkeepers out there listening and watching right now. I can't stress this enough. If you want to play at one of those schools, start watching them so you know what you're talking about when you contact these schools. Just plain and simple.
That would be a plus.
Yeah.
Don't congratulate a coach on their recent performances when they've lost like 3 games straight.
Exactly. Or been like, you saw the schedule and you're like, hey, great job against Coastal Carolina with that 3-2 win the last day, and it turned out that was last year's schedule that you were looking at. So, good times. Good time. Yeah. Guys, obviously you can reach out to us at Goalkeeper Podcast on all social media platforms, or at the Union Goalkeeping on all social media platforms. Go to theunionsports.com. You can reach out to Bill at Let's All Soccer on Twitter is probably the best place. Maybe we'll get his Instagram going. Maybe we'll start collaborating with him on some Instagram posts. You never know.
Like once a week or so.
every once in a while. Obviously, guys, you can reach out to me at Michael Magid, Magid, on all social media platforms. If you're looking for training, whether that's virtual or in person, you can reach out to me or on the Union Goalkeeping right there. And all the stuff has been my link tree in the bios and all that stuff. Maybe even Bill will start doing some sessions. You never know. Depends on if he's got time. We'll find out. All right, guys, that's all the time on Inside the 18, and we are out. Later, guys. Oh, no. I have to find there it is. There's the button. All right.